Hey guys, another video for our crime and emergency services in Japan playlist, which maybe should be changed to very little crime and emergency services in Japan playlist. We've actually talked about this before, made lots of videos with honesty tests. We call them honesty tests, they're not really honesty tests, but they're more examples of honesty in Japan, and have actually mentioned previously about money being handed in Japan. Now, I just happened to be looking at a couple of crime-related things on the internet this week, and I stumbled across one from one of the Japanese newspapers, and it was reporting, it was actually a story from a few months ago, and it was reporting on 2022, there was a record amount of money handed in the Tokyo metropolitan area to the police. So lost money that people have found and handed in to the police. Now, we've talked about this before, about how much it was, huge numbers, right? 2022 is a record, 4 billion yen, right? Which is about $30 million. $30 million in cash that people have found, obviously not in one big pile, right? Here it is, but just throughout the year. An average of about $90,000 a day, right? That people have just lost or dropped or something, and other people have found it and handed it into the police. Isn't that amazing? 4 billion yen, about $30 million, about $90,000 a day, roughly. I just did that in my head. Isn't it amazing? But it's not surprising, you know. Some you would have seen, I did a video a while ago, I found a wallet. I was driving along the road and just about to stop at a set of traffic lights. And I saw this thing on the road and wasn't quite sure what it was, but it looked like it didn't belong there. So I sort of pulled beside it and opened my door and reached down and picked it up, and it was a wallet. And it actually had about, I can't remember now, 50 or 60,000 yen, so about $500 or $600. But it was full of cards and all sorts of stuff, which was good because that made it easy to find the owner. And I think a lot of you guys would agree that pretty much anywhere in the world, a decent person finding someone else's wallet with all their details in it, which makes it easy to return it, would return it, right? So I took it to the local police station and filled out some forms, and actually they have a thing, they say, some of you might have seen that video already, but just briefly, they have a thing where they say, first of all, is do you want a reward? And I said no, and it said, do you want us to give your details to the owner? Right? And I said no, there's no real need, is there, you know? And so, no need for that, you know? And so I was about to leave, I was leaving the police station, and this really worried looking dude came running down the street, sort of shuffling down the street, or like hurrying down the street, and past me. And the police had called him while I was there, because naturally it took forever. There was a lot of paperwork involved, and I would have been there for, I don't know, not an hour, maybe close to an hour. And in the meantime, one of the policemen had gone and found this guy's details and called him and told him, we've got your wallet. And so he's come running past me, hurrying past me. And as he did, the policeman pointed to me and said, he handed it in. And this guy's, oh, thank you. You know, guys, you guys know what it's like. I had a similar thing reversed where I'd been flying at Komaki Airport, and I have 3 bags. I have the bag I always have with all my camera and stuff in it, phone and all those things. And then I have 2 bags, flight bags. So one of them's got maps and charts and all that sort of stuff, and the other one's got my headset. So these 2 bags, and I'd gone into this shopping centre after flying and put the stuff in a trolley, and I don't know how I managed to do it, but I managed to push the trolley back into the thing and take 2 of the bags and go home, right? Which is about an hour to where we live. And got home and went inside and just went, where's the other bag? Oh no. So I called up that shopping centre and said, I've lost this bag, and it was really irreplaceable stuff in there. There was all sorts of really important stuff that was just really, really important, you know. And we called up the shopping centre, yeah, it's here, come and get it. So, and I left it in a trolley, someone found it, handed it in, and it was there at the information centre, right? So that's probably not terribly unusual in a lot of countries, that, you know, if people's found something with information in it, they would hand it in. However, I've also seen my wife and one of my kids was in the park playing, and the kid found a 500 yen coin in the grass, right? So it's about $5 in the grass, one coin, right? And so my wife just naturally, without any consideration at all, took the kid down to the police station, right? And they filled out a form to say they'd found this 500 yen, right? And the system is, if nobody claims it, right, after a certain period of time, few weeks, whatever it was, nobody claims it, it's yours, right? So a few weeks later, we got a phone call from the policeman, the local Korban, to say, come down and pick up this 500 yen, it's all yours, right? Which is a great lesson for my kid. And I mean, this is why this honesty thing gets handed down through the generations, right? So my wife didn't give it a second thought, she automatically did that. And of course, my kid learned that lesson, that if you find something that's not yours, you hand it in, right? So it's not sort of surprising, but nevertheless, 4 billion yen, $30 million, $90,000 a day. People are finding, it must be all sorts of stuff, people's pay or envelopes full of money. And because even though the government's trying to make Japan a cashless society, a lot of things get done here in cash. Some of you might have seen the video 12 years ago when we bought this old farmhouse. A lot of the transaction was actually done at a table with us and our real estate guy and the owner of the house and his real estate guy and then like a conveyancer and then a bank representative, and it was done at the bank, and a huge amount of it was done in cash. There was about $80,000 in cash on the table. And it was like, okay, this cash is for the tax, and because it had to be counted 3 times, this guy had to count it and that guy had to count it. This is for the tax, the different tax difference, and this is for that real estate guy, and this is for that real estate guy, and this is for this, and this is for that. Big piles of cash. Instead of just transferring it, big piles of cash. So a lot of stuff's done like that here, and a lot of people don't trust banks. After the Fukushima tsunami, all that area got washed over, and of course, lots of the houses, even the old ones, had old safes in them, and so there was piles of safes. They were collecting all these safes from amongst the rubble, and bringing them all together in a big warehouse, and then people were coming there to claim their safes and get their safes back that were full of cash and all sorts of other stuff, probably. But cash is a big thing, They reckon that most of the older generation here keep cash stashed away in their houses. When we actually got this old house, there was 10 metric ton of stuff in this house. Some was useful to us, and a lot of it was just rubbish. But as I sorted through it all, I had that in the back of my head, that the old guy that owned this place could have had a stash of cash somewhere. So we were keeping an eye out for it, but it didn't exist. So yeah, so it's a cash society still. So as a result of that, people lose big amounts of cash. And Tokyo metropolitan area is about 20 million people, something like that. So when you've got 20 million people and a lot of them are still dealing in cash, statistically, $90,000 a day is lost and found by people and handed into the police. Isn't that incredible? So there's a million stories like this. When we've talked about this in the past, in the comment section comes up all sorts of stories. Oh, I was in Japan and I lost this and went back there 2 hours later and it was still there. I mean, we've shown you all those videos, bicycles that are just left places and nobody touches them, and those sort of stories never end. I was actually watching a YouTube video this week. There was one of those cops shows, and the cops were putting this expensive mountain bike on a street. I won't mention the country because I don't want to embarrass anyone, but they were putting this expensive mountain bike on a street and waiting, and within about 15 minutes that someone would steal it, and the cops would go and grab the person and take him away, and then they'd put the bike back and wait another 15 minutes and someone else would steal it, right? And because of course I'm watching that, you guys have seen that video. There's been a few examples. There was a road bike that was really expensive that was left beside a sports field. We showed you that video years ago, and that bike was there for weeks, just sitting there beside a sports field somewhere. And the one we showed you more recently was like a $300 $300 or $400 bike, wasn't it? The one I showed you recently, and that just sat there for weeks as well. So when I was watching that show, I thought that wouldn't work in Japan. Cops put out a nice bike and wait, and it wouldn't go anywhere. It'd still be there. So it's good, isn't it? It really is good. It's one of the things, you know, we talk about all the things about Japan, anything and everything about Japan. Some are good, some are not so good. But these are the sort of stories that, you know, you go, yeah, why do you live in Japan? Well, this is one of them. This is one of them, you know. Summer or winter, we'll go to the convenience store or somewhere similar to that, and you just got to go in quickly and get something. And because in summer, you know, it's really hot, leave the car running, leave the air conditioner on, run inside, get what you want, come back, get in the car, drive away. In winter, when it's really cold, leave the car running, air conditioner or heater on, go into the shop, get what you want, come back out, and the car will still be there. And you see it all the time. So we do it, and we also see other people do it. You know, we come out of the store and there'll be a beautiful car sitting there with the engine running, keys in it, nobody in it. And nobody worries about it. That's just what they do. You know, it's normal. The other one, they're all coming examples. At the food court we showed you the other day, people leaving their purses and bags and valuables on tables to show that table's taken while they go and get their food. In a big food court. In a big food court in a shopping centre. So anyway, all that other stuff wasn't supposed to be part of this video. The examples come, don't they? So yeah, 4 billion yen. That was a record apparently. Last time we told you it was pretty close. It was like, might have been 30 billion yen last time we made a video about this. And you know, this is a record apparently, 4 billion yen, $30 million. $90,000 a day handed in cash. Hey, listen, I found this $20,000 in cash in an envelope. There you go. So there's that. Anyway, that's enough of that. It's good, isn't it? More videos coming soon.